Today we're discussing identity and strengths and why they matter so much for Black boys in school. School Dad exists because I've seen what happens when students are seen clearly, not as problems to manage, but as young people with brilliance, culture, and leadership. This project connects real stories with real data to demonstrate how representation influences confidence, belonging, and opportunities. At the end of the day, School Dad is about building schools where Black children and educators who reflect them can show up fully and thrive. Today, I am sitting with the award-winning journalist, Mr. Ernest Owens. It's always great to talk to you. I'm happy that you agreed to come on to podcast and talk with me about identity and strengths, especially within our community. Can you tell us more about you and your values and for the work that you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on. So yeah, I am a journalist. That is, I guess, my claim to fame. I've been a journalist for over 10 years, but I'm also an educator. I've been teaching media studies, public speaking, communications for a couple years. First at Cheyney University, I was a professor there, and now at Community College of Philadelphia, where I've been for a couple years. And it's been important to me as someone who grew up in a public school background my entire life. I was born in Chicago, I grew up in Houston, was class president valedictorian, went to a school with Black and brown kids just like myself, and went to Penn for Ivy League for my undergraduate degree, and then got a master's at USC. And throughout that entire journey, I always said to myself that if I could go back and teach, I wanted to teach people that look like me, people that had similar backgrounds like myself. And so I found that at the nation's first HBCU, okay, Lincoln, it's the first. And then, of course, at Community College of Philadelphia, people who come from working class backgrounds, people who are ambitious and thriving and want to overcome, and not necessarily people that need pity, right? But people who want opportunity and access. And so I wanted to go somewhere where I can make that difference. And I think that's how I look at myself as being a school dad, because I don't have any children of my own.
I love that.
But that is the space where I get to be a big brother. I'm a big brother to 3 other brothers, but I get to be a big brother, a mentor, and a school dad for kids that I don't have in my own house.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's great. Tell us about your books.
Yeah, so I'm the author of a book called The Case for Cancel Culture, which came out in 2023, and it was my first debut book. It was with St. Martin's Press, and I made the case for redefining cancel culture in everyday life. A lot of people look at cancel culture as this like Republican thing, Democratic thing, far left thing, far right thing, but everyone cancels. And in this book, I talk about how it's a democratic tool, not necessarily an ideology, but an actual tool, like what we do in our everyday lives. Like we can say, look, we want to cancel fascism. We want to cancel violence. We want to cancel racism and bigotry. It's about us taking a stand for the things we believe in. And some people cancel things that I don't necessarily agree with, right? But the right to be able to cancel, the right to be able to speak truth to power is a democratic value that we all should be having and practicing. And then my second book, which I'm currently working on, is called Divided We Stand. And it's about stand culture, and not stand culture, but stand culture, because we all know what stands are, right?
Right.
And so I talk about in a political sense, where in stand culture, you have the K-Hive, the Beehive, Bernie Bros, Trumpers, all these different coalitions, and how that type of division in politics, like, it's one thing to have stand culture, like, okay, look, you're part of the Beehive, I'm part of Rihanna Navy.
Period.
Okay, and I'm looking forward to that one. It's taken me 10 years, but we are waiting for R9, I think, and maybe R8. It's been a minute. It's been 10 years since Anti dropped, but we're waiting for the next Rihanna album. So I'm part of the Re-Navy, but I'm also Beehiver too. But like, it's one thing to have that. I mean, I don't know if any barbs still exist. There's a couple that still exist, but they are in stands. They're stands, right? And so it's one thing to have that in a pop cultural landscape. But now we're seeing that cross over into politics, where people are saying they're a Bernie bro. People are saying they're part of the K-Hive. And it's like, wait a minute, we're standing elected officials? Like, we're out here doing some stand stuff. Like, January 6th to me is stand behavior.
Yeah, stand behavior.
That is stand behavior.
Yeah.
Like, they was willing to tear down the country because that person didn't get elected.
Okay.
Like,
You
we've
said
heard
so.
of stories like that, with celebrities where they will, remember back in the day, like it would be an album release day and fans will storm, for
FYE.
somebody. FYE, like it looking like January 6th for the album release, but we're doing this for elected officials. So
Yeah.
my book is covering how that is shaping our day-to-day life to the point where you can't criticize anybody without people going in there losing it. Like if you say anything crazy about Beyonce, I mean, look, there's the stands out there trolling, but now we're doing it about politicians. Like you say anything critical about Kamala Harris on threads, and there's going to be a legion of people that's going to come for you.
Yeah.
And the same way for Trump, and the same way for Republicans. Like we have to stop this. Like we're all taxpayers at the end of the day. Just like celebrities are all getting rich, regardless.
Yes.
These politicians are still being powerful, and we the people can control that. So both of my books, the one I've already wrote and the one that's coming, Fall 27, okay? So y'all can put that on your calendar, Fall 27. The goal is to shape public opinion and give people the power to make decisions. And so that's like the theme of what I like to write about and talk about.
I love Black excellence.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Can you remember a moment when you felt misunderstood in school because of who you were, your culture, your language, or how you showed up?
Absolutely. When I was younger, so I think I'll look at this in two different phases. When I was younger and I was in high school, this was, I went to college in 2010. So I was in high school from 2006 to 2010. I graduated high school then. And so the world was different than it is now. The words that we use back then are not the words that we can use now, even though some people are trying to bring some of those words back. But it was a different world. People can say homophobic slurs. People can, call you all kind of different names about different abilities and things. And that was socially tolerated. I mean, in music and movies and TV and all those things. And I just remember, growing up in high school, like being gay and being who I am today and being queer and expressing myself, that people didn't understand that. Like, people still don't understand it as much, but people have learned how to wash their mouth and wash these hands, But people didn't understand that. So, there was a lot of disrespect.
Yeah.
A lot of people that wanted to put you in a box and misgender you. People say, oh, you're gay, so that must mean you want to be a girl. It's like, no. Because we didn't have the words around people being trans or being non-binary.
Yeah.
And so I was like, no, I don't have an interest in being a girl. But two things can be true. You could be who you are and like who you like, and that doesn't mean that's a gender change. But people used to conflate that. And so I had people that was always trying to label me and exclude me from things or question my abilities because of who I was. And that was a lot what was taking place when I was younger in high school. I go to college, and I'm at University of Pennsylvania, an Ivy League school, a predominantly white campus, and I'm met with racism. There is some homophobia, but the racism and the classism kicks in. People say, wait, you went to a public school, so they're questioning my academic abilities. Yeah. Even though I was valedictorian, real rap, smarter than many of those kids, because a lot of them had tutors and ACT, SAT prep and all that. I didn't have any of that. I had to get the book from the library and study it. And so when I first came into that environment, people was questioning my abilities in ways that I never was met. Like when I was in high school, people were always like, oh, Ernest, he's the smartest in the class. No one questioned that. I come to this school and there were people that instantly did that because of where I was from. So I'm understanding, okay, some of the challenges I had with homophobia in high school, I'm now dealing with racism and classism and navigating that. And because I was in a liberal arts school and because I had a love for reading, I got really educated on what I was experiencing in real time. And that empowered me. Reading books like Pedagogy to the Oppressed, Race Matters, understanding critical race theory, understanding the works of Dr. Kimberly Crenshaw, and understanding it in a way that education for me in a college environment liberated me. Finding community in West Philadelphia outside of the Penn bubble gave me an understanding about the things that I thought were my fault that were not my fault, right? Like a lot of Black people deal with shame under circumstances that are not necessarily their choice. And so I understood how to be a warrior and not a victim, but also understand what oppression looks like, and also understand how these things are more systemic to individual. And so once I understood that in my own being, I began to volunteer at West Philadelphia High School, where I got to connect with kids in public schools, similar people from similar backgrounds like me. And I feel like I was a school dad, even though I didn't have that title, but was able to get a chance to interact with Black young boys like myself, some of them that were questioning their identity, some of them who were navigating high achievement, but also understanding who they were and what they weren't. And they needed someone that looked like them. And I felt like I wanted to be that person that I didn't necessarily have when I was in high school, when I was navigating college experiences. That made it more important to me that even if I wanted to be a journalist, can I still mentor somebody? Can I still find a way to educate? And I didn't have the mindset about what it means to be an adjunct professor then, but if there was a way that I can volunteer and mentor. And so I did that in my college years. I wanted that early because the next Ernest Owens that was going to go to a Penn's campus or a USC or somewhere else, I didn't want them to feel like they had to question their abilities up front or feel met with that the moment they hit the campus. And so for me, it was a mindset of breaking those generational curses and cycles.
Yeah. And you made me reflect about me, and when I was growing up in high school, I didn't have any representation of me being gay.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't even identify as being gay. I was, I guess you could say, DL. When I read that, I didn't even think about my identity.
Yeah.
Right. It was so suppressed because, or compressed, if you want to say so, because I didn't have people saying you can be that. Like, it's okay to be gay.
I mean, you know what's funny? When I think about it, when you said that, I think about me, like, people put it on me before I even got a chance to. I felt outed before I was even able to. People would just be like, you gay? I'm like, why you clocking my tea? I didn't even come to the room and share that. Like,
it was like, I wasn't even educated on what it was.
Right.
And it was like, ever since I was a kid, it was like, you're gay, you're gay, you're gay, you're gay.
Yeah, labels, yeah.
In school, outside of school, and it's like, well, then by the time I'm in high school, am I gay? What's going on? Right? But even if with that, I wish I had someone that was educating me, or I had representation when it comes to being a Black gay male. I would have had more confidence, you know. And when it comes to navigating different environments.
Well, yeah, because we see it happen in a more cis heteronormative space, where young men are automatically taught how to date, how to holler at girls, how to talk to girls, how to do this. And it really wasn't until college where I got into a space where I did find mentors that were able to have those conversations. But in a landscape for me, like, what does safe sex look like when you're queer?
Yeah.
What does it mean to, you know, understand masculinity and femininity in a male-centric space? How to protect yourself, you know, inside and out, mental health, how to advocate for yourself, how to say no.
Yep.
You know, when you don't want to do something.
Yeah.
It's very different in those dynamics. And I was fortunate enough to have that level of mentorship through college. But I think about my high school years, you know, fortunately I had some good close friends that I still have to this day. But we were just Googling and look on the internet and finding YouTube videos that we thought were good to talk about certain things. And it was so different. I mean, like, for me, it was like, you know, Noah's Ark was so trailblazing as a show. Like Noah's Ark. Like, now there's still not as much representation in media as it should be, but there's just so much variety. And I think for me, that was the other thing too, was like, we were limited on what we could see.
Yep.
Like, it's funny, like, some students that I meet, they look at me and they go, wait, you got a degree, you got friends, they know you gay, you an alpha, you can do this, you can be in a fraternity, you can do this. It was like, to them, they're like shocked because they always felt like there was only one way to be and there was only way how to be. And we create those possibilities, and it's so important for us to be out and be visible because they will only think that there's only so much represented. And I'm not throwing shade. I mean, listen, we could be all things, but we're everywhere. Yeah. We've been everywhere for so many years, and it took me having to do my own research, my own history to get there. And now I can educate other people to say, wait a minute, We're in elected office.
Yes.
Locally, not just nationally, but locally. And us as black men, we are in Harrisburg. We are working. We are in film. We are in television. We're in media. We're in journalism. We are all over. And I think we're in higher education. We're everywhere. And I think they need to see that in real time. We don't need to just wait before we're in our 70s and 80s on some Black History Month poster. We need to be there now, letting them see that, because it makes such a difference.
Yeah, I feel like me spending so much time suppressing my real identity, because I've been always told being gay is bad.
Yeah.
Because of religious, beliefs.
Yeah.
And then finally in college, not even my first, I guess you could say, freshman and sophomore year, I was still like, I didn't tell anybody who I was dating.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I went to a TWI.
What is a TWI?
Traditional white institution.
Okay.
Which was also religious based. So it was definitely 1000%, like, don't even talk about it. I even asked a professor, like, do you think we'll ever, because this school I went to have like an amazing campus that hosts so many events and weddings. So I'm like, do you think they'll ever like have a, gay wedding here? And she was like, absolutely not. It would have to be like some progressive leader who would like want that to happen. But no, that's not something we actually support.
And it's crazy because I think about it now, like I met my husband at Penn. We both went to Penn, both came from the same background. He was from Trenton, went to public school his entire life, and then came there and we met there and we got married at the museum at Penn.
Oh, nice.
And people were like, I don't even know. They was like, what? But years later. And people can see that. And that New York Times covered it. But my students Google me and they find and like, you that dude. I'm like, I am. Nails and all, Telfar bag and all. But that's just, no, but to your point, it's just like, but again, 2010, when I came to the campus, I was just like, I'm here to get my degree and go. I'm here to get my thing.
Me too.
And go.
Yep.
And did not think I was going to fall in love with, because, again, it wasn't, I guess you said TWI? I guess it was TWI, PWI. It was all oppressive. No, I'm joking. But we that campus was different. Like it was, I just did not see that, and it's been so different since. And still not as where it needs to be, but a whole lot better because of people like myself and him and others just being out and not leaving. Like I did student government. I didn't just do the LGBTQ student groups. I didn't just do the Black student groups. I did the groups. The mainstream of it all was like, we're not gonna put us in silos. We're gonna be all here. And to this day, that impact is still being felt. And I think it's important because somebody's gotta be the trailblazer. Yeah. Somebody's gotta do it. We keep asking, we keep waiting for Superman, as somebody wrote. But we gotta do it now.
I like that one though. I like that documentary.
I do like it. No.
That documentary is actually why I became the teacher. I'm like, I need to be
right. I know, that's what I'm saying. He's Jeffrey Cannon's a big deal. Like, but that's what I'm saying. We're waiting. Yeah. For us, for our Kate, our rainbow Kate.
So instead of waiting, I'm like, here I am.
Yeah, we got to start now. I got to be the change I want to see. Sometimes you look in the mirror and be like, somebody need to do this. Somebody got to do this. And you like looking at yourself like, all the things I'm asking for someone to do, I can do. Why can't I?
So what do you think would have been different if you had that representation for yourself?
I would have did things. I mean, I get hard on myself. I definitely expedited things. I sometimes get a little hard, like, oh, I could have did this. And I give myself grace because of the time and the context. I can't, marriage equality wasn't until 2015, which is perfect because I graduated in 2014 and I got in my relationship in 2014. So I could be like, you ain't blaming the man. You can't blame nobody. Versus other folks that, I was in civil unions and stuff. I was like, what does civil union look like? A situationship with some legality. It's like, it's not illegal, but it's like, oh, we got a civil union. Nah, I was like, no, I need these benefits. No, I'm joking. But not really. But to a certain extent, though, I think, what I would have did? It would have not been a structural thing. It would have been a mental thing. Yeah. I would have not been debating so much about my possibilities early.
Yes.
I don't think it would have been, I think my track, the way everything was on track for me to go professionally, I did everything I needed to do on time. But mentally, I would have been second guessing things. And I would have not been drinking the respectability Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
I think I would have not done that so much. The nails would have been done much earlier.
Okay.
I would have been a little bit more, I would have had a little bit more style. If you look at my old style, I wasn't the trade. I never could do that. I mean, sometimes I could do the trade. You know, I can put the voice on if you want me to. How y'all doing, students? My name is Professor Owens. Just here to let you all know about. I could have did that.
But how does that feel when you do that?
I have fun with it.
Okay.
It's fun for me. I like the versatility that I can switch it up.
I like that too, actually.
You know, just in case. If I got to pick up the phone, call the parent, they say, oh, you know, is this Miss? It is.
Oh, yeah. When I talk to my
I have fun.
Let's say the mothers, I'm like, girl, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? What are you really doing?
You know, it goes out.
But then sometimes, you know, but I don't care anymore.
Yeah, me
because
neither.
I get a mindset now that, you know what it is, when you're younger, you know better when you do better, right? I think the older I've gotten, the more I've realized the mediocrity. And I tell my students that. Like, when I went to Penn, all these kids, a lot of them that were white, that came from certain upper backgrounds and things, I tell them they know better than you, some of them. They had tutors, they needed all of that. You know what? They got what all of us should have gotten.
Yeah.
They got the resources. So I don't have any, I'm not hating on them for it. But if you know about inequity, then you cannot judge somebody for having things that you needed if they don't have.
Right.
And I think that's what got me, was when they would judge people who didn't have those things. I'm looking like, the fact that I'm here in spite of, don't question my GPA.
And then
don't question my talent when
Yeah.
I had to do all that and still showed up. If you didn't have those things, could you show up? Because here's the thing, you had a whole coach to apply to Ivy League schools. I got accepted to multiple Ivy League schools on full ride. And then I have somebody had to look at my essay. I mean, I had my mom look at it. I had my high school counselor look at it, but they said it looked good and they sent it. So all this affirmative action stuff that they talking about, let's talk about nepotism. Let's talk about being a legacy.
Being a legacy.
I had no alumni networks or connections. I didn't do any interviews. When I showed up to Penn, you know, the first day I showed up to Penn was the weekend when I moved in. We didn't spend any money for me to get flued out to Philly and Cambridge and all these schools. I was looking at brochures. I chose Penn because they had a black mayor, and I said, if the school is corny, there's a life outside of this. And that's really what happened. I went to the neighborhood. I went to all this stuff. I said, oh, I got a life in Philly outside. If I want to go to New York or go anywhere else, whatever, I could do that while also still being a student. And I actually liked it that way. I actually did not even think that I was actually going to date anyone at Penn because I was so like trying to keep everything. And then second semester, I fell in love. And I said, well, this must be the one. And 12 years later, here I am, still with them. But it had to be right, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know I was going to walk out with my MRS and my BA.
Okay.
I didn't think I was going to walk out with both, but it can happen. But I guess to answer your question, for me, it was just, I would have given myself more grace early and not drinking the Kool-Aid of what people was telling me I had to do to succeed.
Yeah.
Because they tell you all that, like, oh, you got to do it this way, you got to dress this way, you got to do this way. And then you go in a room with all these people and realize they mediocre.
Okay.
They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They have no clue. You just as good, if not better.
Yeah.
And they're going to need you more than you're going to need them to get them out these problems. Because I've never been without a bag.
Yeah.
Just saying.
For me, it would have changed a lot about my trajectory. Like you said, question yourself a lot, especially if you know you got the skills to do X, Y, and Z, but you're like, but would they accept a gay man to do that? I've been told that before. They wouldn't have their child be taught by me because I was a gay man. Right. I'm like, wow.
I had people tell me that too about certain things. I said, well, then that means you don't want the best.
Oh, exactly.
And that's fine. Yeah. You go somewhere with that. I've had people tell me that. Certain publications in Philadelphia, before I started my business, I wanted to work. My company, I always tell people, Ernest Media Empire, I work with media companies, I work for them. And I went independent because in the very beginning, I was dealing with that kind of stuff. Yeah. Some places were black-owned places, legacy publications, but said, oh, your lifestyle is concerning me. I said, okay. 5 years later, they come back. And now the narrative changes. The narrative goes, oh, well, he's too good to work with us. I said, well, there was a time where I was too gay to work for y'all, and that wasn't good enough. And now all of a sudden, Black excellence. Now you want me. Now you can't afford me. That's how it be. You better get it when it's good, because when it's not, it don't be a question of whether I'm too good. It'd be a question of, I don't even think the standards are. What I want to do, I dodged a bullet. Sometimes rejection is protection. Sometimes rejection is a redirection. Some of that rejection I got when I was younger, coming in, being myself, I was like, oh my goodness, I don't beg for anything. Mm-hmm. The things that I needed in life, it comes to you. Yeah. I tell my students that, I tell everybody that. I be like, don't force it. When you beg for it and force it, you realize it's not as good as you want. When you just sit back and chill, it kind of comes to you. Things, opportunities come to you. Certain things that come, the things that I have wanted the most in my life, I have not begged for, ironically. And the things that I regret the most in life, I didn't want in life, were the things I begged for. Some things, I was like, this job, I gotta have this opportunity. And you know what it is? We tell ourselves, like, we create the logistical maps for ourselves. We like, if I do this, this will be this. It's like, who's telling you this? Right. You know, in your head, you'd be like, I gotta do this thing in order to get this thing. And it's like, what math is this? What if the thing you want, you just go get? You don't gotta do all the other stuff.
When did you realize that just you being in the building changes how Black boys are seen?
Wow, I mean, I think when I was at West Philly High, I was doing an after-school program through the Netter Center at Penn, and it was like right when I graduated, and I live in West Philly, so I didn't live too far from West Philly High. I showed up to the after-school program, and I was doing a media program, and when I walked in, the kids heard me and saw how I sounded and talked or whatever. They was like, they're like, you are our instructor? I said, yeah, what's up? You know, they had never had someone like me. Most of the guys are much older, hyper masculine, all the things, and they were just relaxed. There's a certain type of sigh of relief. And some of the kids in the class, I can tell, were questioning, or they were queer, and they felt relaxed, like they didn't feel like, you know, because some of them were like, I just was gonna quit, I just signed up to do this, but they weren't having fun. They were just doing it to stay out of trouble. And then shortly they began to have fun. Mm-hmm. And what was interesting was that my presence wasn't even just a space for just the boys, but even the young women that were there, because somebody was able to stand up for them and defend them in a certain type of light. Certain things that was being said to them, I was like, why are you saying that? We don't say that. So they found my presence was not just that for the young men there, but also someone for young women to feel like they were comfortable, because they did not feel comfortable with just expressing themselves for other men, like saying, hey, this boy is this, because they would be told boys will be boys. In my space, no, boys cannot just be boys. Let's unpack that. Let's talk about that. And so we had those conversations, and it was fun. It was grounding, and it wasn't like I was condemning them, judging, because we're in a space of learning. See, I love to learn with children. See, grown adults that know better, oh no, we don't have teachable moments with racists. We don't do that. But you, 16, 15, yeah, this is the best place for me to listen to you and not judge. Because if I'm telling you something now that maybe your father, your uncle, or somebody before you don't even know.
Right.
And you know what's funny? Some of the stuff that we would talk about, they would have those conversations with their parents and their grandparents and their uncles and things. And it would just change conversations. And I think we forget who we used to be when we was in those classrooms, when we would hear teachers and people say certain things, how that shaped our thinking about the world. And then we would go back and repeat that to our parents and things. And so just like parents can influence kids, teachers can too. And I think that's why I was a school dad, in the mindset that I was present for them in ways that maybe their father was not, or maybe another male figure was not in their personal life. But they felt comfortable asking questions or saying things that they did not feel comfortable saying anywhere else. Yeah, that West Philly high school students was my space. I don't think I think middle school is too young for me. I feel like I'm a little just too cool for school.
You think so?
I am a little too cool for school. I need to be with people that know a little something. But nowadays, these middle school kids try, because I have a younger brother. He's going to be 16 soon. And the way they got social media, let me not underestimate.
You underestimate them.
They make. I think my crowd is high school.
You know what
and college.
Right.
I just know high school because I just know how to get with them. I'm like, I don't got time to cut it out. You know what you're doing. Cut it out. Like I just need a little bit. I like that group. I just think high school students for me, because there's a certain level of, I don't gotta repeat myself, but also we don't gotta do the whole what is this, what is that. I think my patience is for that.
Yeah.
But also because I do think in some cases I'm also still young enough to understand them in a way that I feel like a lot of people miss. Because everybody either wants to be their parent, like their parent.
Right.
I like to be, I guess I'm at Unc status now. I'll be 35 soon. I'm at Unc status, they say. I still feel like I'm big bro. I think Unc is like 40. That's what I tell them. I say I'm big bro. Because I have a brother that's 22.
Okay.
So I feel like I'm his big brother. I'm not Unc. No.
I don't mind it.
You don't mind it?
I don't mind the uncle. I've been an uncle since I was like...
Don't put me Unc.
Maybe 6.
And that's the thing, I'm not uncle yet. None of my siblings have kids yet. So they shouldn't be having none yet. I need them to have a car and pay their own rent and not ask me for no cash app. So until you get off my cash app, you can't have no kids. That's how I feel. I feel like why you cash apping me, but you talking to your father.
Yeah,
you need to be a father to your plant.
That's true.
Keep your plant alive. Be a good plant dad.
So I teach 3rd grade. I never taught high school. I taught from
I love it.
pre-K to 7th.
Okay. Wow.
And every year I've always had these talks with the boys, or maybe the whole class.
Yeah.
Because you always hear someone calling somebody gay.
Oh yeah.
Right? Or that's us. So,
yeah. They saying it in middle school, son?
That's where it probably was
See, and that's the problem. See, high school, by the time I get to high school, they do the little, that's funny, or they do a little hint. I'm like, what are you doing? Cut that out.
Oh yeah, no. So in my classroom, they cannot use those words.
Yeah.
They're hot words. I'm like, no.
No, you cancel those words.
They are definitely can't. That's
okay.
That's on the cancel list. You can't say such. You can't say somebody's gay. You can't say anything along those lines. Because why are you saying it? You're saying it to demean them in a way. Well, being gay is not demeaning.
That's right.
Let's stop that.
Right.
So I have those conversations, very light because I teach 3rd grade.
Yeah.
I'm like, we don't have to say all that stuff.
Yeah, high school.
Just know that boys can cry.
Well, high
boys
school,
can like pink.
Yeah.
Like it's okay. It's just
at high
a color.
school and college, they clock me, even though I'm like, you can't clock something that's already ticking.
Paint us a real picture of what shifts when a black male is present inside a classroom.
I think the moment they see us, I think a lot of anxiety drops. I think a lot of fear drops. I mean, I didn't really have too many black male teachers when I was in high school. College I did. And there was a level of relief. Like there was a lot of things I felt like I didn't have to explain. I think when you don't feel like you have to audition, because we're always forever auditioning. I feel like black people in general, we're always in this like wheel of auditioning. Like we have to always prove something. And I tell my students all the time, I mean, it ain't matter how many degrees, awards. I've been on Forbes 30 under 30. I got flew out by Oprah. I interviewed Oprah in LA. I got a master's degree. I done won all the things. And I'm always forever feel like I'm auditioning sometimes. Like it's like always something I gotta prove amongst people who have not even achieved the things I've achieved. I think about Viola Davis talking about that. She got the Oscar, she got the Tony, she got the Grammy, she got the Emmy, she's got the EGOT. And there's still people telling Viola Davis, you gotta do this a little bit more, if you do this thing. And so at some point, what's beautiful is that when you are with your people, a lot of that flattens. Don't say don't happen. There's still always people that's trying to check you in your own community. But a lot of that kind of stuff kind of dissipates. Where I don't have to come in the room and feel like I gotta name all the things that I've done. Because I don't gotta prove anything.
Right.
And I think my presence to my students, they don't feel like they gotta explain too much. I kind of come in with let's lead with good intentions. So one time when I was doing the thing, they were like, the student said, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. I was like, okay. Well, I gotta go, blah, blah, blah. I was like, you don't gotta tell me all that. Just go. I just expect you to come back one time. But because they were met with that type of surveillance in other classrooms, they felt like they had to come do all that with me. I was like, I believe you. I'm gonna believe you until you prove me otherwise. So trust is built instantly without there being an interrogation. That's how I think the difference is. Like with my black students, all my students, but especially my black students coming in, I felt like because they were in classrooms where most of the time they felt like they was in a prison pipeline system. They had a warden, like they gotta lay the case file, they gotta use the restroom. No, you gotta use the restroom, go to the bathroom. You have to go to the bathroom, right? You telling the truth, right? Okay, go. And so that type of mindset made them go, okay, maybe I may fool around with these other professors differently, but with him, I wanna earn it, I wanna keep it. Because I didn't come in as treating them like they were suspicious.
That is interesting to have the professor to go to the bathroom. I always been used to you just go. It's college.
Listen. Listen. You went to a 4-year institute. It's a little different nowadays. But I tell them it's your education though.
Yeah.
It's your education. And that's why I also give them agency too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think sometimes educators, and we are having a responsibility. Let me be very clear. Mm-hmm. We have a responsibility with students. But we also we need to remind them that this is for them too.
Right. You have to invest in it.
I can't make you a valedictorian. Mm-hmm. That's what my college counselor told me. High school counselor told me. My high school counselor was like, that's what you want to be. You're going to do what you got to do. I'm going to tell you what you need to do to achieve that. But at the end of the day, you got to take those classes. You got to study. You got to do what you got to do. When I went to college, I changed my major. I was going to go pre-law route, but decided to go the media route. I wasn't initially going to be a lawyer, go into politics, be the next president of the United States, because that was Obama era, and also I didn't know much about journalism and media. Like I was not exposed to it. Like I knew black reporters on TV, but I didn't really want to be on a TV anchor. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know this whole world of black directors and media moguls, and I didn't know that world yet. My heroes are people like Byron Allen, who I got a chance to meet so many times and got a chance to work for one of his companies, the Griot. Mm-hmm. But I didn't have that coming in because I didn't see it. And so for me, the presence of black men in these spaces is to let these students see the other side. See, we so many people can go through life just seeing people graduate, but they never see where they land. Mm-hmm. So to be able to get a full circle moment where you go from student to teacher as a black man is crazy.
That is crazy.
Because you get to be able to change the trajectory. It's almost like you get to redo history for somebody else in a way that you couldn't for yourself. And so I'm fascinated with it. And that's why I'm fascinated with journalism, because I get a chance to tell stories that other people couldn't tell. So for me, it's all about just being a part of restorative justice and restorative history and living history. So very meta. But it's... That
was beautiful, though.
Yeah, it's my
fault. Just gave me some enlightenment, wow, that's what I'm doing every day.
Yeah, you really are. You're correcting those ills, but you're also doing it in real time.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, it's not going in vain.
Yeah.
Because we're seeing those people in real time. Like, one of your educators is my line brother. Mm. And he is still teaching people.
True.
We're both alphas, and we're both having this connection. And I'm looking at him like I'm doing this, and I'm looking at someone like him who's done it for years, older than me. I mean, well, not older than me, but he's older than me. But many years he's taught. It's like you taught years, decades, and someone like me is now having that experience and able to get a full circle moment to see a student you've taught.
Yeah.
That now is educated.
Wow. Yeah, that is full circle.
Yeah.
When he saw me at BMAC, he was like, "Oh no, you here?" Like,
yeah, but I'm saying like you're part of your reason why.
His product.
And so he get to see that.
Yeah.
Like there's a person like my friend had a baby shower. He taught my friend. You and him, both of y'all were in school at the same time.
Yeah.
And he was at he knows like the influence of that. Mm-hmm. And so I just think I'm in a space now where I'm starting to see. That's why I'm more interested in high school, because I want to see them returns on investments early.
Oh yeah.
Because he was educating you when you was what? When you was in elementary school?
No, I was high school.
High school?
He was a dean.
He was dean. I want to see the return on investments fast.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my people, I'm seeing some of my people that I've mentored finish college. I'm at the part where I'm going to their college graduations now. Mm-hmm. And now I'm seeing them go off in the world and do things. And I'm 34. So these ROIs are happening in real time. We don't got to wait 20-something, 30 years to find out where someone lands. People are landing now.
Yeah. I mean, well, I'm doing a job on, the on this level.
Yeah.
So when they get to you, they already have the skills and they're equipped.
Exactly. The pipeline.
To be right.
We doing a success pipeline right now. We're going from, good to great to phenomenal. We taking them through. And a lot of the kids are, I feel like, getting better.
No, I have to tell you, like, being at this level, teaching third grade, and seeing the different students that come into my class in different cohorts every year, the class I have now, I'm like, wait, something is happening. A shift is happening. These kids are brilliant. Tell us a moment with a student where your presence changed the outcome, especially a moment where he or she was being misread or mislabeled, and you helped the school see their real identity.
So this is a very complicated story. Not too complicated, but it's a interesting dynamic. I had a student that I taught at a 4-year college who just wasn't fitting in. It didn't work. They were talented and I knew they had potential, but I think they were in an environment that they just was not ready for. And I did not discourage them to drop out of college, but I said, could you consider community college or another type of institution? I think one, because you have the ability, but you also need to be in an environment that might be a little bit more liberal, a little bit more progressive. And so, normally you're supposed to try to get people to stay in the institution they're at. But I just felt like deep down in my heart, they were going to make it, but they weren't going to thrive. They were going to survive it, but they weren't going to thrive. And if you're going to take out loans, why are you going to take out loans to go somewhere where you don't like it?
You're just surviving.
You don't feel good, And so I was like, consider this. So what they did is that they actually end up transferring to community college. And I end up seeing them and I end up teaching them at Community College Philadelphia before I left my other place.
Your return on investment.
Yeah, and now they've transferred to Temple for a 4-year.
Oh, nice.
They transferred to Temple, got scholarship money. They're in a better place. Very much more inept with who they are, their confidence, and all those things. And they say, if you didn't have that conversation with me, my parents wanted me to stay at the other school, and I would have hated it. But I saved so much money. I feel smarter. I feel like I learn more. And now I'm even more comfortable. So they're going back to 4-year. They're going to Temple, but they're so much more mature. They're so much more confident. They've built some of the friends that they've met because at CCP, they have an LGBTQ student group. They have all these other resources that the other school did not necessarily have or really invested into. And so I felt like they need to be somewhere else to really shine. They did. So
that's good.
I really feel like I've had many stories, but that one in particular was tough because, normally you're supposed to tell them, stay here. And I told them, stay. I did tell them to stay in college, just not in this college. Because I didn't think this college was best for them. And I couldn't, in my personal gut, recommend them something that I wouldn't recommend my brother or myself or anybody else.
Yeah. One thing that our community lack is college readiness.
Yeah.
And getting their students and getting their child ready for college.
Yeah.
Right? I definitely was a product of that. I didn't know what I was doing. My first year of college was terrible. It was terrible. So terrible. So I dropped out. But I did go to CCP.
Okay. See, listen, I'm telling y'all.
Dropped out and
if you
I
tired
enrolled
of
in
dancing
CCP.
in the music videos, come to CCP. You tired of dancing in the videos, taking everything, come to Death Row. No, I'm joking. No, but I tell people, I think everybody's different, right? For me, I shined. I just knew it. I was so hyper-focused.
Yeah.
Like I was in a certain way, like, my mom had went to college. I had family that went to college before me. I graduated. A lot of them ended up graduating later or paused it. Mm-hmm. I was the first to immediately just go and then graduate in my family. But they had went to college. So there was already a doctrine in me of like, you're going to college. Mm-hmm. And then once I went, then my brother went, he graduated from Temple last year. It was no question. So because that was already talked upon me, there was always a mindset around it.
Exactly. So a lot of people don't, or a lot of children don't have that person
Exactly.
or people telling them that you're going to college, I want you to be this, or you should do this.
Exactly.
Like a guiding
For me,
light.
it was a dispute about where I was going to major in.
I wish.
But I always tell people that that's the difference, though. It's like, even if the parent don't graduate, or they graduate later in life, or they do whatever, just the mere fact that they got accepted, they went to that environment, they're planting that seed in you, that conversation where you know where you want to go versus that. So for me, like, college was never a discussion. It was like, you're going to graduate and you're going to go to college.
Period.
What I think is, though, important for people who are trying to figure it out and navigate it, knowing what you're going to college for, or knowing what your readiness level is. And so for a lot of my friends that I also know, some of them did community college for 2 years, then they transferred to 4-year, which, to be honest, if I wasn't on any financial aid or anything like that, I probably would have did that. Because some of my friends got hella debt, and you know, it's different if you don't got a good financial aid package. I knew I was ready for college because I was like, look, I got no choice. If I don't do this, I lose a scholarship, I'm going back to Texas. Didn't know I want that to be the case. So I was really big on being like that first semester, avoiding distractions, avoiding the trade, avoiding the parties. I mean, I did to some parties, but I was really laser focused because I was like, I need to know what I need to know. And some of these students who were coming in, they were first gen college students, never had any exposure to college. Their parents didn't know what to tell them. Their parents didn't know what to do. Yep. So prerequisites, all that kind of stuff, they're thinking they're going to the, what they say, the 13th grade.
Yeah.
And it's so different, you know, and it's no mercy because professors would be like, shoot, you fail, you fail. You know, if he dies, he dies, like in a Rocky film, you know. That's how they treated them. Yeah. Versus high school, you got somebody on you behind every 5 seconds. Did you turn in your assignment? Did you turn in your assignment? Calling your parents if you don't come to class. There's none of that in Cheney. There was none of that in 4 years. You don't go to class, you don't go to class. I mean, they'll try the first time. You know, they might email you. Yeah. But at a certain point, they're like, why am I chasing you about something you paid for or somebody paid for? Because they're like, my check is here. I'm not with the school district.
That's right. That's right.
Little Frank, yeah.
But I feel like we have to start getting those students ready. Yeah. We do. Yeah, and I have those conversations now, even like I said, with my third graders, we have those conversations now because a lot of stuff is predicted because of your score on the PSSA, which should be abolished. But the School District of Philadelphia's 10-year, $2.8 billion facilities master plan proposes school closures beginning in 2027 to 2028 school year. Yes. After public pushback, the district revised the proposal from 20 closures to 18.
Yes, they have.
And the plan is still moving through the board review and public comment. Yeah. You mind reading our quotes?
Yeah. This is a step along the way to fundamentally breaking down public education for our children in the city. Council member Cindy Bass at a city council meeting. We owe it to them to improve their education, not push them out once the neighborhood begins to thrive. Erica Green, Conwell Middle Magnet Principal. How many more buildings do Penn and Drexel need in this community? Antoine Mapp, Director of West Powelton Steppers, a community group. Parkway is more than just a school. I feel safe coming here. Dravon Kelly, Parkway Northwest sophomore.
From a reporting lens, how is this closure story being framed? And where do you see Black and brown children in urban neighborhoods getting misrepresented in ways that shape public opinion and policy?
I think this is a very complicated issue. Look at me sound like a politician. No, it's true. As a journalist, I've covered these issues on more of a governmental political level. Mm-hmm. I don't do education reporting on a regular basis, but I do know how they intersect. And this is a real political issue that it's twofold, right? There is an issue in public education in Philadelphia. We get that, right? But I always tell people sometimes we're learning the wrong lessons from the right teachings. So for example, this is a hypothetical. This is not related to school, but walk me through this. Gotcha. You might have been in a situation in a relationship where it was toxic, it was bad, and you learned that, you know, as a person, That was a lesson that you had to learn about people and not, doing certain things. Now, you can walk away with several takeaways. The takeaway could be, let me take some time to heal myself and process and learn how to be a better person. Or do you just say, I'm never dating men again? Mm-hmm. So in this situation, the school district has learned a lot about the need for change. That was the right teaching that they had. Like, we need to change some things. But the lesson they're walking from, I don't necessarily know if this is the right reaction. So we all get that the schools need change. Mm-hmm. So that meant you want to close schools, which I understand the need for some schools to close, but this massive school closure is the response. Yep. I think that's what I'm wrestling with. I think we do need a response. I don't necessarily know if that is the right response. And I think other people, in the pursuit of complaining about the closures, because I also think we need to be more proactive. Okay, if you don't want to close the schools, what needs to go? What needs to change? What are some reforms that need to change? And I know there are some advocates that are proposing some things, but sometimes I hear people show up when the thing is the last minute. Now, personally, I knew about these school closures and the conversation since last year. Mm-hmm. But now that they're about to do it, now everybody want to show up and save. We have to get past the point of always coming in at the last minute with a last minute save. Okay, and if you have a last minute save, what is the solution though? Because that does not fix the problem. When you leave the power in the hands of the institutions, they'll come up with drastic measures and that scares everybody. But then what is the solution if you don't want that to be the solution? But also with the school closures problem is that they're trying to come up with strategies that are going to be a win-win for the powers that be. Yeah. We got a lot of property and vacant property in the city. People are arguing that we need to close some of these things down to put some things up, to fix this issue with space. That's why we had the arena situation. Remember the arena? Oh, we got to put in Market East because we got to figure out how to revitalize Market East. And then that deal closed. That didn't work. So now we still got the Market East problem that we got to figure out. What to do with Market East? And so all the people that said they didn't want Chinatown, which I was one of the people, I didn't want a Chinatown arena. Now the conversation becomes what to do with Market East because that just can't be there the way it is. If the city needs to make money and fill up those gaps, all of these corporate buildings are shutting down. They know that office building space is not happening in Philly. Residential seems to be the answer. But that means they got to expand. So they want to close these buildings down to put developments there.
That's a hard fact.
It's hard.
That's a hard fact.
So then what do? Because you could say, okay, keep these schools. But also let's be honest about the schools, the conditions of the schools, the investments going to take to bring these schools up, the truancy levels based on them, which again is, I'm not blaming the families and the kids alone, but also the school district has to be honest. And I think they are being honest. They're not being honest in the ways that they need to be to say, we don't have the money and we don't have the ability to pour into these schools, which is why we need to close them. It's negligence on our part as the school district. We cannot equip them. Stop blaming the schools. Stop blaming the families. Stop blaming the neighborhoods alone. Because I think that's the problem. They want to act like, oh, y'all wasn't showing up the way y'all should. That's why we got to close them. No, you were giving them a pile of crap.
That's true.
Schools with asbestos and mismanagement. Yeah, who want to go to a school like that?
There are many schools that's on our list that were historically underfunded.
Yeah, negligent.
Yeah.
And so now you want to close it, which I get, but then it's a slap in the face because mindset would be make a better school there.
Okay.
Close that school and then make a better school. Mm-hmm. But they don't want that because developers, they're trying to make profit. So you put a better school there. No, let's not put a better school there. Let's put a condominium there because that's going to give more money to the city and the properties. And that's why they're lockstep and key with the park administration because the fix is already in. They're going to save some schools.
The fix is already in. It is. It's like you said, we already too late to the game. Yeah. This was, like you said, I caught one of this last year, but now people want to, fight for it. But it's like, we could have been fighting last year. Yeah. Could have started when they first make,
You don't wait until they tell you the eviction notice.
Yeah.
Like I always tell my students, don't ask for an extension after the due date.
Yeah, exactly.
But they do that. They be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm late. Can I get an extension? First of all, an extension on something that's already laid?
Yeah.
You should at least ask a day or two before. So I feel like that's what's happening. We have an eviction notice on these schools, and now everybody wants to save them once the eviction notices come. I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying that I recognize that we're in a different kind of conversation. And so maybe there's lessons to be learned from this closure, these closings, to then figure out what to do proactively next. Like, what do we do now that this has happened? What are we doing to now protect the next couple of schools that they might try to close in the next couple of years? Who's at risk?
Yeah.
Because there's some schools right now that's at risk that's not on that list.
You're so right. And I'm thinking about all the families and children and communities that's going to get affected by these school closures.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen to them.
Yeah.
You know, overcrowded classrooms, that's already a thing.
Yeah.
So now imagine we having these merging schools happening, and then now we having these kids moving.
They making on all those kids not coming.
Talking about not coming, right?
they're making on them not coming. They're like,
so,
we done seen the estimates and the numbers. As long as we keep this truancy rate the way it is, this should work out. They're not expecting maximum capacity.
Well, Watlington, he just passed a new policy for the school district that all of the half days for Fridays or whenever they have half days are being eradicated for the rest of the year, and then next year for 8 days.
Yes.
So now not only are 18 schools are being closed, now the kids are not getting out early. Now professional development is happening maybe after school. All of this is affecting teachers now, children,
Listen, y'all got y'all raised. You didn't think that when y'all got y'all raised that y'all wanted so bad that there was not gonna be a cost for that? You got the wrong. Listen, you didn't think there was gonna be a price to pay to stop that strike? Oh yes, the fix was in. Y'all didn't read y'all dotted lines. Listen, the fix was in. The fix was in. They knew. They said, "Oh, you gonna pay? Oh, there's more to come. You stay woke. There's more coming. There's going to be more coming."
Watlington get that energy too. Like, okay, well, just know more is coming.
Y'all want y'all little raises? Okay, watch this.
Wow.
Watch this. That's what Wise just said. He said, watch this. He knew. Oh yeah, you just thought y'all was going to get that cute little raise and y'all deserved it. Let's be clear. But you don't think anything was going to be a cost. Now what? What y'all mad about now? Y'all said y'all was willing, right?
And that raise wasn't even like a lot neither.
No, it wasn't. But
even.
It's always to do it, to avoid the strike, to avoid all that. There was going to be some type of cost. I said, wait for it. They didn't want to hit y'all with it immediately, but that was part of it. And I bet you the unions knew. I don't know for a fact, but I wonder. I don't think it is something that did not come on the table, be discussed. I can't speak for the union. I don't know for a fact. But I would just say that these are things that may have came up in conversation.
Well, speaking of people who's at the table, when people say they aren't represented at the table, what have you observed about whose voices get amplified and whose voices get dismissed?
I think community voices are the fastest to get dismissed because there's no fear. Fear comes with, in politics, fear comes with money and power. And access, right? Access to resources and to other things. And so if you don't come to the table with that, or visibility, because as a journalist, I come with power because of visibility. Like I don't come with all the lobby money and all that kind of stuff. I don't have any union money and all of that endorsement type of stuff, but I do have visibility. And so when I post something on social to my thousands of followers, my visibility does create a response. So either you come in with visibility, you come with money, or you come with some type of political capital, power, or resource acquisition. You gotta have one of the three, or all three. Some people got all three. Some people got one out of three, but you gotta have one of them. And community don't necessarily have that unless they do something in mass. Like visibility in the sense that they gotta do something in mass. But one community member saying something, no.
Yep.
But if you get 200 something people and you show up and you storm up, you can do something. One mad Trumper, who cares? January 6th, we shook.
That is true.
It's got to be in numbers with the people.
Yeah, I'm thinking like parents are not angry enough for me.
No. That's why I tell people all the time. Listen, I was born in Chicago. I grew up in Houston. Being in Philly, I'm like, if any of this was in any of the cities I just named, Listen, y'all would have had you would have been had your raise. You would have had more than whatever percentage you would have got. Y'all ain't crazy enough for me.
Yeah.
Because I don't even listen. Most of this stuff don't even impact me directly. Like, I don't have any kids. I don't deal with any of these things. Even I go up and I turn up higher than some people. And then they be telling me, relax. I'm like, if I gotta relax and I'm just mad as a taxpayer.
Yeah.
But I'm just in the mindset of, these are my kids, these are our kids. And if you're accepting that from them and you telling us, don't go too hard on the mayor, oh, be nice to the superintendent, these are people that's making these decisions.
These are people that are making decisions. Sure.
Hey, if you can't be mad at them, who's supposed to be mad at? You can't blame everything in the White House.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do. They say, oh, well, what's happening in the White Schools had issues when you had Biden in the presidency, you had Obama in the presidency, you had Trump .1. You had him the last time. You would have learned from that to be better this time. Mm-hmm. Miss me with it. Oh, it's the governor, it's the Harrisburg. You got a majority of Democrats in Harrisburg now. Stop playing. Even when you had the majorities, there were still issues. Stop blaming the state. And the state want to blame the city, and the city want to blame the state, and they want to blame each other. Cut it out. We all see what it is. Enough.
Yeah.
Enough. So I would say right now the most vulnerable people are the community. The most powerful people, developers, unions. Mm-hmm. Unions have some say. Developers, elected officials. Yeah, and the school board.
Somewhat.
Yeah. Both of the chairs of the superintendent school board, they're both in my chapter, both alpha men. I love my alpha men when they do right. When they do right. I feel like they could be a little bit more transparent. I won't say they're doing bad. I won't. But if community disagrees, by all means, community, stand up, rise up, speak up. What I will say is, I just wish there was more transparency. I just wish they could just make it plain and be real.
Yes.
And also give people alternatives. Mm-hmm. I think that's what's missing to me.
Yeah.
Is giving people a plan B. So like when the arena happened, one thing that annoyed me about the arena deal was they kept saying, oh, if we don't have this arena, we ain't got anything. No. There's always a plan B. There's always a plan B. There's always a plan B. I don't care what anybody say. There will always be a plan B in any situation. You may not like the alternative, but there's always an alternative. And so when they kept saying to me that there's no way this is going to happen with the arena, I said, that's not true. And guess what happened? The arena didn't happen. And what happened? It went to South Philly, didn't it? Mm-hmm. That was the plan B.
Okay. Yeah.
Just saying, there's always a plan B.
But what's the plan B for school closing in communities?
Listen, I'm not in that consulting bag. I didn't get that check. I don't know.
No, I'm thinking about what's the plan B for families.
Y'all gonna figure it out. I don't know what you did. You gonna figure it out. I'm not cooking today. You gonna figure it out.
I was thinking about the plan B.
You get creative. You start making bologna sandwiches. You start making, tea sandwiches. You listen, mama say, I'm not cooking today. You go figure out in that refrigerator. You go find something in there. You get creative real quick. So I have that mindset of you go figure it out. They gonna figure it out.
They'll figure it out.
There are people, let me be very clear. There are people who do have ideas. Mm-hmm. Let me not dismiss that. There are people who do have alternatives. There are advocates and activists and community people that do have alternatives. Go listen to them. Go to the table and go find middle ground with them. That's what I would say. That would be my solution. I'm not in that conversation personally, but I know there are people who do have alternatives and solutions and need to bring them to the table. Because when it comes to Philly politics, when people say they don't know what to do, listen, call me. Because I have thoughts about all these things. I have solutions with anything that's going on with legislation. Call me, tap me in, because I've been talking about it. You can listen to my podcast, Ernest Speaking, every week. I give people all the solutions. They say, since you always complaining, you think you know everything with your degree. You think you know everything. I do actually, but I have solutions though. I do have something. Anything that I'm complaining about, I will give you an alternative or the people to go to talk about it. That's always been my rule of thumb. Even with my students, I tell my students, if you say something ugly or you don't like it, tell me what do you think can make it better. That's my rule. If you're going to drag it, you better raise it. Drag it first, then raise it. Because I'll drag. I do a good old drag. And then I raise it. You know that in Cinderella when the stepsisters ripped the dress off? Mm-hmm. Cinderella, the pink dress. I live. But then the fairy godmother came and made it better. So you can rag and drag, and then you come back and you say, okay, now that we told you that's a hot mess, now let's get you right. That's how I tell my students. I think that's what we need here. We need people to, yes, complain. Yes, let people know you don't like something, but also provide an alternative and tell other people to come listen. And those people who complain about being ragged on, are you receiving the alternative? Are you receiving the solution? Because everybody get mad. They say, oh, you so hard on the park administrator. You so hard on city council. But I also come with solutions and recommendations. And I'm not saying I got to have it my way, but don't say all I do is complain when I'm also giving you a plan. I'm doing both. I'm walking and chewing gum at the same time.
All right. Shifting gears.
Just saying.
We were talking about identity and strengths.
Yes.
Right. And bringing it back to the black boy, bringing it back to the black gay boy.
Yeah.
Bringing it back to black children.
Yeah.
Black and brown children. You wrote a letter to yourself.
I did.
If you had a chance to read this letter to them, to who you were when you was younger,
yeah,
what would you say?
Yeah, I took some time. Dear Ernest, first of all, you're doing great. Take a deep breath. It's going to work out. Have as much fun now because there's no need to be so serious. The world right now don't understand all the things you already have figured out about yourself. Don't argue and shrink yourself. Don't stress yourself out. You matter. You got this. You are loved, and you'll be loved even more in a room that's bigger, brighter, and more fabulous than you can possibly imagine. I love you.
Well, Ernest just smiled.
I would say that.
That was powerful. What's one thing you wish policymakers and the public understood about the damage of misrepresentation, and one concrete action they should take?
Yeah, I think one thing that I wish people would understand about misrepresentation and these other issues is that it's a systemic thing. It's an institutional thing. People don't wake up homophobic. People don't wake up colorist. People don't wake up racist. There is a structural, environmental tolerance for this stuff that makes people think it's okay to do those things. Because I have seen other communities where you say anything about their community or about them and stuff gets canceled. As somebody who wrote the book, The Case for Cancel Culture, not all cancellations are the same. That's a chapter in my book. Not all cancellations are the same. We have seen people in other communities that I admire. I admire the zero tolerance.
Yeah.
You go in a room and you make a joke about their history. You say this about their culture or their community. You put up any problematic signs and symbolism, and you out of there. I love that. Right. I love that for them, and I want that for us. I want us to be in a space where you say something, you even dare say you know what's coming. There's people that do the stuff and go, oh, I'm about to get good. We don't do that as black folks enough. And I think we have to be zeroed down. It's not a discussion. Mm-hmm. We're not debating slavery. Yeah. We're not debating the use of the N-word. These are not debates. We're not going to debate none of that. You're going to play around and you're going to figure it out. And I think institutions need to know that we're serious about that and we're dead ass about it. And also to be proactive and not letting these things happen. Like I saw what happened at BAFTA. Mm-hmm. It was unfortunate. There's a lot of things that happen with disability. We shouldn't even have to have a conversation that pitted ableism with racism and these things. We shouldn't even been having those conversations. Because at the end of the day, whether you intend to do that or not, an apology should have been given. Yeah. Okay, you didn't intend to say that, but you still apologize. Like we're at a point now where we're arguing about whether or not people should apologize for being racist, whether intentional or not. We have an impact versus intention conversations in 2026 when it comes to racism. We got people arguing whether depicting black people as apes is racist or not. Child. Like I just feel like we just have to get to a point where anybody in these situations, we establish a no tolerance. We here say, no, that's not okay. And let everybody figure it out. They say, well, what is this? We'll figure it out when we get there. But what I'm telling you right now, this ain't acceptable. The way we in school, we know we have the rule at the bell. Why don't we do that with our stuff? Why don't we treat it like that?
Yeah.
Our respect. Like, no, you can't say that. And I'm tired of the pick-me's. We got to shut the pick-me's down. Well, I didn't think anything wrong with it. Okay, well, you go over there with your contrarian self. You go over there with your contrarian self. We over here, this is not it. I don't care what they told you.
Yep.
Yeah. So I would just say we just need to enforce more zero tolerance when it comes to the hate. We should not be treating it as up for discussion. There's no intellectual conversation to be had when it comes to the marginalization of our people. Because I know that that's not the case with other communities.
Exactly.
And so we don't need to have that in our community. So I think the one thing I walked away with when I wrote my book, The Case for Cancel Culture, was that we as a community need to stand 10 toes down when it comes to defending ourselves. Because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, all we got is each other. So, yeah, that's my takeaway.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on Project School Dad Podcast.
This is a whole class. I love having a whole job interview. In-class interrogation. I didn't do it. I told you I didn't do it. I'm at a parent-teacher conference.
Yeah, well, basically. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
It's always a delight talking with you. And I look forward to reading your new book when it comes out in 2027.
Yes, Divided We Stand.